what I've come to love about H6L, I can now start and I can really, for the first time, put in a channel list and not have to worry about that. I can even go as far as adding things into a channel list at the end, knowing that it doesn't matter where they are on the paper or on the patch list, I can have them exactly where I need them on the console. If you look at this console, just from the overhead here, I've got 32 input channel or 32 channel faders, which can be anything. And I've got my venue mode, which is inputs, outputs, inputs. Can bank the inputs over here. And then I can bank, I can bank outputs, I can bank inputs over here, and they'll bank on these 3 pages. And that's a very standard thing on most consoles where you've got your input module and your output modules and you can bank separately on them. Layout 1 is highlighted, and there's the faders that are in layout 1. So I haven't even filled up all 32. You can see this obviously has got the capability of going all the way to 48. There we are, put my cursor quickly, because there is a 48D. We're a 32D, so we can see only up to 32 is highlighted. So I haven't used this last bank on the console. And then if I go as I go through the banks, you can see what's in them and where they're physically positioned. So there's no need for a specific orientation either. I don't have to start at 1. I can start at 32 and work my way backwards. And also because any fade is anything, I can mix inputs, outputs, VCAs, whatever I want. I can leave gaps where I want. I can do coloring. I can do all that kind of thing. So like you saw now, I've got a VCA next to my channel. I've got matrices, everything on this layout 12 that I'm working on. Because what do you use snapshots for? You use snapshots for bands. At a festival, every snapshot's a different band. If you're running a theater show, obviously you're running through scenes, snapshots, moments in the show. And what happens is if you're running a big theater production, for example, you've got different leads coming up at different times, different band things, different solos in music, different music cues, different special effect cues, all those kind of things. And your snapshots could be running off a time code, which means it's changing automatically, which is great. It gives you more time to focus on other things. But what it means, if you're on layout 1 and layout 1 is linked to those snapshots, as it's changing, the faders in front of me at any given time are the ones that I'm using in that scene. So out of 100 and whatever channels that I've got in my program, I could choose to have a very selective bank of faders right in front of me on my fingertips all the time. I'm sitting in the center. I do a lot of studio work, a lot of broadcast, so I'd like to be center for my stereo image. What I'll do is I'll start with my far right with the least demanding VCA that I have in front of me. I generally run multiple VCAs, but I don't need all of them all the time. So I'll run from my right coming towards me, starting with some percussion stuff, some track elements, things that are predictable. And the less predictable they become, the more closer to my hand position they get. And then I end up with a band VCA, generally in this position, a vocal VCA, which could be a lead vocal, and maybe just next to it will be a backing vocal VCA. And then in and around close to my vocals will also be potentially, not always, delay or echo if I want to use it in that song, or reverb if I need to change it in that song. On my vocal layout, my reverbs and everything I need for the vocals are there. But in certain songs, obviously I've got programmed them. And if the song doesn't need me to ride a vocal or need me to ride anything like that, I don't have to have it here, which means I save space for other stuff. And then working that way, I would again start with from the most to the least critical inputs. If I press my layout assign button on the screen, and you can see that I've pressed the layout assign button, it's on the bottom right. I can now, you see there's a flashing red light over there by my finger. That's where I'm going to start, but I can say I want to start there. Now that one flashes, or I want to start right here. I can literally pick a position that I want something. If I say here, I want to go put a VCA, change my view to VCA, and I say I want to put VCA 26. There's VCA 26 and it's color. Over there, I want to do a bunch of inputs. There's some guitars and pianos. So there's my guitars and pianos that have just popped up. You see the fade has moved. And then over here, I'm going to go and I'm going to do, you can see on screen, they're obviously highlighting. I can go matrix, and I say I want to put a bunch of matrix on those first channels. And then I want to go and do some auxiliary masters on these two channels over here. I'm going to put those two there, and then I hit layout assign, and I've built a layout.